Today, I have an opportunity to share with you a quick resource that you can actually use anytime you need it. You're going to be using your phone for this because it is an app, and I am excited to tell you all about it. If you're new here, I'm Becky from Patchwork Posse and my online quilt group, Patchworkers Plus, where I help you use what you have, finish what you start, and connect you with other quilters from around the world. You can check the link in the description for more information on how you can join me there. I'm always looking for things that can help my quilting go faster. If you know anything about me, I also have the Patchwork Planner, which helps you organize your projects for the year. It's like at the end, you have this journal of all these projects organized by month. You have your calendar in there showing you what classes you took, and there's project tracking sheets in there as well for block of the months, quilt alongs, and any orphan project you want to work on. So with that, I also have Quilter's Cheat Sheets, which allows you to build a binder. The binder allows you to have access to a lot of tips and things right at your fingertips. So I am a big supporter of having things around you that will allow you to sew more because you are searching less. With that said, I'm going to share another thing that you might find really handy when it comes to the same type of things that you're looking for. Like, how many blocks, if I sew them 12 inches, do I need for a baby quilt or a king size quilt? How much fabric do I need if my border, if I've got a stop border that's 2 inches and my quilt is 64 by 64? How much do I need for my backing? How much binding do I need? What if I cut my binding on the bias? How much binding do I need for that? So I am going to show you a great resource that you can use and have at your fingertips, which may be just a little bit better than having a 3-ring binder because it travels with you. So let me share with you what this is. I know this is a little more on the awkward side because I'm going to be showing you on my phone, but let me share with you the Quilt Geek. This is a great app, and I'm kind of convinced that you're going to love it. So I thought I would just show you around the app really quick, just so you can get an understanding of how this works. You're going to notice at the top is my favorite and my saved projects. These are all based on what you are actively using down here. And so you can see the heart. If you highlight the heart, it is going to show up as one of your favorites. Everything is kind of color-coded, as well as additional charts. Some of these I've already highlighted or favorited because I've been working with this for a little bit and checking out, scrolling through. This is crazy. Just for instance, I saved the quilt size chart because that one is so nice to have. It has a visual diagram of the different size quilts, as well as a quick view of their sizes. Now in here, you can change to inches or metrics, units. So there is a way to do that as well, depending on where you're located and what you like to use. But this one I love because a lot of times I find myself, oh, how big is that? I don't remember. Instead of digging through all my papers, my printables, I can quickly look on here. Then if I just go back, I've got some saved projects. Now for, just for funsies, when I was going through, I usually do a square quilt around 64 inches. And so this is what I did. I put in that I wanted a border that was 2 inches finished. And my quilt width was 64 inches. My length was 64 inches. My width of fabric, so you have control over how wide of fabric yardage you're using, and a calculation. Now, if I wanted to do mitered corners, this is the information that I can use. Otherwise, I can use non-mitered And I need a total of 5/8 yardage for my strips that need to be cut. And then it gives me the cut units as well. And it calculates what my end quilt size will be. I went ahead and did this other one where I've got multiple 12 by 12 blocks. And I would like to know how many I need for a baby size or a full size quilt or even a California King. And I've got that saved as well. So it's one of my favorites that I can quickly go back to. For my binding strip, I usually cut mine at 2 1/4. And my quilt, I'm just going to give an example. Sometimes they're like 65 by 65. So I like square quilts. I'm not sure why, but that's what it is. The width of fabric is 42. And how much do I want for overage? This is like an extra piece of the strip for overlapping and joining. So it's set, the default is set to 10 inches, and that's probably just fine as well. I'm going to hit the calculate button, and here we go. So we need 270 inches in binding strips. So we are going to be cutting our width of strips 2 1/4. We need to cut 7 strips. That means I need a 1/2 yard of fabric for this binding. Now, this is not a bias binding. This is a standard binding. If I need to make any other changes, I can hit the recalculate. So if I want it a little wider and, just make it easier for me, I can recalculate it at 2 1/2 inches, and then it'll tell me again, it'll update everything, and I can save this as well. So when I save this, I can choose the name for this. I love this feature just because it allows me to save it under names that I recognize, because sometimes the ones that other apps or whatever give you, you're like, I can't really remember what I was using that for, but that allows me to save it with a name that really makes sense for me. They do have another one for bias binding, so you can, again, play with the information and add up what you need. And another one is the backing. And so I really struggle with how much yardage I need for my backing. So again, if I say my quilt is 64 by 64, my width of fabric is going to be 42. How much do I want on each side of overage? Usually for long arm quilting, you want 3 to 6 inches. So I'm going to put 4 inches, and then I'm going to hit calculate. This gives me a visual look at if I'm going to piece or have a vertical seam, or if I'm going to do a horizontal seam. I tend to go with the horizontals, but I love that you can toggle back and forth and decide for yourself what you want. This is going to give me information as far as I need to cut 2 pieces of fabric that are 72 inches long. And it's by width of fabric. So when the calculation is finished, it's going to tell me that I need to buy 4 yards of fabric for this backing. And again, I can save this. So if I save this, I can save it for the quilt that I'm working on. So maybe this was for my barn quilt mystery. And so then once I save it, it is going to be up on my saved projects. And right here, this is what it is. It's the backing and binding, but you can see what I've named it is the Barn Quilt Mystery. So when I'm in the quilt store, I can quickly check that I need 4 yards for this specific quilt. Now I can, save this a few times for a few different backings that I'm looking for. And again, I can name them differently. There's so much that this can do in the blog post, which will have a link in the description for, so you can go back and read. It has more information on really the capabilities of what this does for you. But again, I'm going to say it's better than having the printed pieces of paper just because you have it on your phone. You can take this to the quilt shop. You can use it all the time. I know that EQ is a great resource to have as well, but sometimes having this really helps you understand what you actually need based on the designs yet you have in the EQ program. Have you ever used this app before? I would love to hear about your experience with it. Drop it in the comments. Let me know. I'm kind of new to this. I'm still exploring it, so I might have to give an update after I've got more saved and more things up here that I've used. But would love to hear about your experience with the Quilt Geek app.